It is 1939 in Berlin. Two unlikely friends, an American engineer named Paul Pleiss and his German colleague, are planning a trip across 11 countries to India in a custom-made car they built themselves. For their journey, they need water containers. The German colleague has access to a military stockpile at Tempelhof Airport and manages to acquire 3 of Germany's latest metal containers. They strap the 3 cans under their car and start their journey. As they travel across some very rough terrain, they realize how incredibly well built the cans are. Despite the harsh road conditions, they don't leak or break. Halfway to India, war breaks out across Europe. A direct order from Berlin recalls the German engineer to fight for his country. Just before he departs, he hands a set of secret blueprints for those unbelievable cans to his American friend. But to understand what made these cans so superior, we need to go back 3 years to Nazi Germany, where a group of engineers were solving one of the biggest problems in modern warfare. 1936. Hitler got big plans. He's secretly building up his military, and he knows his strategy is going to rely on speed. Fast tanks, fast planes, fast everything. But there's a problem. You can have the fastest tanks in the world, but if you can't get fuel to them, they're useless. The Germans were using these triangular containers that were absolute garbage. They leaked, they broke, they were impossible to stack properly. So the German army wanted a highly reliable fuel container, something that could survive a war. The design they came up with was genius. You can stack these side by side, on top of each other. One person can carry 2 full ones, or 4 empty ones using these 3 handles. This space at the top, which never fills with fuel, that's not wasted space. When the can is full of fuel, there's enough air that if you drop it off a ship, it'll float. By sinking the weld into the middle, the design protects it from damage, keeping the seam secure even under rough treatment. The iconic X-shaped ribs are a key design feature. They provide crucial structural integrity and act as an expansion joint, allowing the contents to change volume safely in any climate, from the desert to the mountains. And this spout design is perfect. Hand-operated latch that can't be lost because it's attached. Most clever of all is this breather tube inside. Lets air back in while you pour, so you get smooth, even flow. The Germans got their first real battlefield test during the Spanish Civil War in 1936. Members of the Condor Legion brought early designs with them. They worked perfectly. Tough, reliable, practically indestructible. The plastic lining inside meant they could carry drinking water too, not just fuel. By 1939, thousands of these Wehrmacht Einheitskanister were secretly stockpiled across Germany, ready for blitzkrieg. Which brings us back to Paul Pleiss, unknowingly carrying 3 of these remarkable cans across the desert through thousands of miles, which performed flawlessly. As you can remember, when war forced his German friend to return home, he left Pleiss with a remarkable gift: the complete manufacturing blueprints for the can. Pleiss ships the entire car back from India to New York and tries to convince American officials about these amazing containers. They send 1 can to Camp Holabird in Maryland and then basically ignore it. Instead of copying the perfect German design, the Americans decide to improve it. They create the Blitz can, same basic shape, but they remove the recessed weld, the hand-operated latch, and plastic lining. They basically took a perfect design and made it worse. Meanwhile, in the North African desert, British troops are getting their first real taste of German engineering. They're stuck with containers they call flimsies, thin metal cans held together with crimped seams. Then they encounter German fuel containers, solid and reliable. British troops start stealing them whenever they can. They nickname them jerrycans, jerry being a common slang term for German soldiers. The British were so impressed, they started making perfect copies. Same handles, same latch, same recessed weld, even the same red paint inside. You can tell it's British from the War Department stamp, but otherwise it is basically identical to the German original from the 1940. By 1942, American fuel handling was a complete disaster, with reports showing 40% of gasoline being lost simply due to faulty containers. Washington had no choice but to start copying the German jerrycan design. The Allies gear up for the biggest logistics operations in history. They developed mechanical filling devices called rotary cows that can fill 720 jerrycans per hour. D-Day arrives. Jerrycans are everywhere, an essential tool for keeping armies running. By the time Germany surrenders, 21 million Allied jerrycans are scattered across Europe. So many that careless abandonment of empty cans by Allied troops creates an acute shortage. The US Army offers prizes to French children for recovering empties. Over 1 million cans are found this way. President Roosevelt himself said that without these cans, it would have been almost impossible for Allied armies to cut across France at the lightning pace that exceeded even the German Blitz of 1940. The war ended, but the jerrycan lives on. This design was so good that 85 years later, we're still using basically the same thing. Sure, modern ones aren't built quite as well, and weld sticks out instead of being recessed. The materials are cheaper, but the basic design is unchanged.